Hi, my name's Tristan Grove. I'm from the IPSE press team. I'm here with Andy Chamberlain, our Deputy Director of Policy, just talking about some of the main events and the most relevant events for the self-employed from the last week. So obviously one of the main things from the last week was the Chancellor's spring statement. Andy, can you just tell us what some of the best things from the spring statement for the self-employed were?
I think some of the best things from the spring statement were what wasn't in it. The Chancellor stuck to his promise that this would not be a fiscal event, which means that there were no changes to the main rates of taxation. That's a relief for business, which for a long time has had to put up with 2 fiscal events a year, in which bringing about sets of changes in each one, and it's a lot to keep up with. So I think that business overall was relieved to see that there were no such changes. And IPSE in particular was relieved to see that the Chancellor didn't use this as an opportunity to launch a consultation on extending the IR35 rules from the public sector to the private sector. We suspect that that is still going to happen, but we were relieved that it's not happening just yet.
So what are some of the less good things from the spring statement for the self-employed? There were several points actually not mentioned in the Chancellor's speech, weren't there?
Well, one thing that was announced was a call for evidence on VAT. Much of what the government's looking at there is around tapering VAT, so that any business which falls just over the threshold could perhaps find a way back out of it more easily, or perhaps start paying VAT at a lower rate. All quite sensible stuff. But if you read the call for evidence, implicit in that is a consideration of whether or not the threshold should be lowered. We think that that is a very dangerous move. Any attempts to lower the threshold will be met by resistance from us. If you lower the threshold, you bring smaller businesses into a complex regime, and it can have a big impact on their costs and a big impact on their customers.
How likely do you think it is that the government will actually decide to lower the VAT threshold after the consultation?
I think that it would be unwise for the government to do this. And to be fair to them, this is a call for evidence. This is not a consultation. So they are not proposing that they do anything at this moment. They're in listening mode. And we're going to take that opportunity to tell them to proceed with extreme caution. If you lower the threshold, you bring more businesses into the VAT regime. It may even mean more businesses will try to keep their turnover lower, so that they stay out of it, and that will have a detrimental impact on economic activity.
The government also announced it would be publishing the results of its consultation on how to tackle non-compliance in the private sector, didn't it? So what do you think are the most likely outcomes of this for the self-employed?
So non-compliance with IR35 in the private sector. Yeah. Well, we're very worried about this. I mean, they did say at the autumn budget that they would do this year. A lot of people felt that the natural time for a consultation would be around now, and that the Chancellor would use the spring statement to say that he was launching it. That's why, as I said earlier, we were relieved when that didn't happen. However, in the fine print, if you look at a written statement the Chancellor made to the House on the same day, it does say in there that we will consult on this in the coming months, whatever that means. The result of that will be that there will be a further big row, and I think that a lot of large businesses, many of whom use hundreds, thousands of contractors perhaps, will suddenly wake up to this idea that they're going to have an awful lot of bureaucracy heaped on them at a time when they're already worried about the uncertainty caused by Brexit. I think this would be a very bad move for the government to do at this time. And moreover, I think that there's a big problem with what they've done in the public sector anyway, happening at any time. So this will be the focus of our arguments when the consultation does get launched.
I think that's very interesting stuff there about the spring statement. So thanks very much for your time, Andy.
Thank you.
We'll be back with another roundup next week.